Today's topic is optimized data management. Now, I admit that can seem a little dry, but what makes it fascinating today is we're going to talk about that in terms of its application to the trials of the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, to have this discussion with me, I'm really pleased to be joined by Cormac Dunn. Cormac is, and let me get this right, he is the Director of Digital Infrastructure for ICON Clinical Research. Cormac, great to meet you.
And you, Mark, and you.
What I'm really pleased about, Cormac, as far as what we're doing today, is we have 10 minutes. Very often these case study discussions they get boiled down to just a few sound bites here and there. So we have time to go into some more depth. So we'll get to COVID in a minute, but let's start with the basics. Who is ICON? What is ICON? And what do you do in terms of IT at ICON?
Okay, well, so let's start with ICON. So, Mark, ICON are a world-leading clinical organization. We partner with large pharmaceuticals to accelerate the delivery of new drugs and new devices to the market. From an IT perspective, our global IT function supports all of the data and business applications that the ICON business needs. My role as the director of digital infrastructure, you've got that right, is to manage the IT infrastructure teams to ensure that our business applications, number one, are online, that they're performing, and I suppose that the data is secure.
Yeah, thanks, Cormac. And as you know, ESG does a lot of research, and I was looking back at a couple of things we've done that really reflect things that I know about ICON. We asked respondents whether IT is getting any easier. Nearly 2/3 of respondents say that IT is actually more complex compared to 2 years ago. And I know this is relevant to what you do at ICON because of the standardize and simplify mantra that I've seen reflected in other reports of what you do together with Netapp and FlexPod. When we looked at the business initiatives driving IT expenditure at the moment, the number one thing is strengthening cybersecurity. I guess that's no surprise. And obviously, with what you're involved in as a company, that's absolutely crucial. Obviously, this has been a tough year for the world and a tough year for the world of IT. What's been the impact on what you've had to do at ICON?
Yeah, and I suppose the last 12 months have been very, very challenging for many, industries and many organizations. The march to home working or remote working has really become a sprint, and that has new implications and new considerations for us. And in particular, where are our people, right? And how does our technology serve their needs, right? And their needs are changing. And I suppose we have to do that while considering and addressing any security concerns that we might have in terms of their new locations, their new connections, and how do we ensure that they can work while keeping our data and our assets secure. Lots of companies were exploring and many were dabbling with decentralized trials. I suppose for us in ICON, that has become a reality, and we've embraced that model. Our Accelicare offering is an important part of our integrated patient, site, and data strategy. And our Accelicare offering is a global clinical site network that facilitates us to increase patient recruitment, retention, and is done with a patient-centric approach.
Thanks, Cormac. And I think that makes a great segue to the COVID story that we want to talk about. So before we get to how you did whatever it was you had to do, could you talk a little bit about what you had to do at ICON from the IT perspective in terms of the vaccine trials?
Being able to show our commitments, to proactive monitoring, to proactive load testing, increasing resources on the fly. We stood up twice daily stand-ups to ensure we had a hypercare approach to our customers and our internal customers' needs related to vaccine trials. And this was all done with a real commitment to our stakeholders. And that commitment was about the stability of our systems. And that allowed then our clinical teams to do their jobs, okay, to monitor the trial and to deliver the clinical trial in record time. I'm really, really proud of my team and our contribution to this global solution to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, Cormac, and it's fascinating. I was looking at another piece of research, and in this we asked IT people how their spending had changed during COVID. The highest response to that question for the healthcare industry was about IT professionals having to spend more to support an increase in their business. Does that resonate with you? I mean, beyond everything else, beyond working from home, beyond security, all of which we know about and is tough, but you really just had to do more and do it faster. How did you cope?
I would say, look, we operate a lean model here at ICOM, okay? You know, our SG&A is lowest in our market, and we pride ourselves on that and on cost management. I believe cost management is a competency, and we work hard at, you know, developing the skills necessary to deliver on that. We're part and we operate a global shared services, and that's spread out and decentralized across the globe in a cost efficient manner to serve our global workforce and their needs.
So, Cormac, I want to jump in here if you don't mind. You've mentioned efficiency a couple of times, both from an operational perspective and from a cost perspective. And I know that one of your key tools in the efficiency battle, if you like, is FlexPod from Netapp and Cisco. What I'd like to know, aside from COVID and everything more recently, we'll get to that, but what is it that got you into FlexPod in the first place?
The FlexPod solution has been rock solid for us, okay? We're probably on our third or fourth iteration of the solution, you know, as we continuously upgrade the hardware on a 3 to 4 year cycle. And all this is done without, you know, our business missing a beat. And initially, we were attracted to the reference architecture, okay? The knowledge that the Cisco and NetApp engineers have worked together to collaborate on a product. It was fantastic. We expect value and we expected performance, okay? And we've got that in spades, okay? The ease of use of being able to add capacity, whether that's adding a storage node or adding a compute node, has been fantastic. Something we haven't expected, I suppose, was just how solid the platform is. It really is a world-class solution. And, you know, at this time when our business really relies on and values the stability of the system at present, you know, that has just been great for us, right? Really been fantastic.
Is there anything you would highlight about FlexPod, NetApp, Cisco in terms of driving help with the vaccine trials for COVID-19?
At the outset of the vaccine trials 9-10 months ago, you know, we undertook a review of our core clinical systems, which, you know, FlexPod solution underpins all of, right? And we performed, you know, what if scenarios and load testing to stimulate, you know, what our business development departments were telling us were coming in terms of tens of thousands of patients and what that meant for our, you know, the performance of our systems. And, you know, we didn't get it all right in terms of our planning, but then the ability to add resources on the fly into production workloads really has kind of facilitated us to stay agile, right, and to flex, you know, no pun intended, but to flex with our business and their needs, and to do it at the pace they expect as well. So the capability to plug and play and the modular, you know, setup of the environment allows us to really ensure that we had the resources there when they were needed.
You know, Cormac, I want to thank you. The story has just been fascinating and really refreshing. But let's just look ahead a little. There will, thankfully, be a post-COVID-19 world. What changes for you, either in terms of IT generally at ICON, or perhaps specifically in your use of FlexPod?
I think, I suppose, over the last year, I think there has been an acceptance in many companies and also in many countries on, you know, the acceptance of working from home or remote working, okay? And that is something that I think is staying for the future. The challenges ahead for our business, well, look, they remain somewhat the same. You know, answering the question of how do we accelerate the clinical trial and to bring, you know, new drugs and new devices to the market quicker. I have no doubt that the NetApp and Cisco FlexPod solution will form part of our IT platform in ICON in the coming years.
Cormac, I just want to thank you again. It's interesting. We mentioned right up front your title, which is Director of Digital Infrastructure. To me, that speaks volumes to the importance, not just of IT, not just a digitization, but of data. And it's been great to hear a story. I mean, thank you for sharing something about the positive aspects of what IT can bring to the world. Thanks very much.